Hey Techno Freaks, Techno Odin here, continuing the character breakdowns for Guilty Gear Strive. This time, we'll dance with you anytime, with Anji Mito.
And that's why I'm taking you down!
The best chest in the series, Anji Mito is a character that rewards the skillful player, taking all that hard work and time placed into the labs and really putting it to good. You're just using Fujin, aren't you? Okay, joking aside, Anji is a lot more than a one-move wonder. He is a pressure powerhouse, able to float around the opponent like he's Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance, and punish the opponent for their lack of discipline. And this is in part to his unique mechanic, the guard point. Completely watered down from the X installments, some of Anji's specials will allow him to go into a guard point state, which is basically his Sugetsu no Hakobi special, since everything I'm gonna say is what this move does and where this whole thing stems from. This has Anji pirouette around his opponent like it was Swan Lake come for the reckoning, and basically adds extra recovery time to the opponent's attacks, which will allow Anji to punish moves he may not be able to do normally. The big downside to this is the startup time being a little slow, so it's more of a prediction and a commitment to use the guard point abilities as opposed to being reactionary. And the fact that the guard point attacks are not immune to throws or grabs, which is once again displayed as the main countermeasure in the first Anji matchup tutorial in the Wasteland mission modes. Key moves are as followed, starting as always with 6P. This universal anti-air has Anji swipe his fans upwards, sending the opponent flying full screen in a similar fashion to Soul's 6P. In counter hit, it will slow the opponent in midair, allowing Anji to link into specials he wouldn't be able to land normally. Next we have his 5K, because it's literally Nago's 5K. A fast Swiss Army tool that will poke, juggle, and catch those interruptible gaps in the opponent's offense. Not as good as Nago's 5K, because the initial hit on a juggled opponent will send them a lot further than Nago would, so you can only get like one attack and it's better to be used in the corner. Still, it's a really decent tool. We now move on to his 5S, starting with the close slash, as it's one of his most important attacks for pressure. It's fast, super safe on block, can link into most of his other great normals, and is his primary juggle tool because of all of the above. Fast Slash isn't something to shy away from either. It has some decent range, making it one of his best pokes in the game, and while it's a little bit on the slower side as far as slashes are concerned, it links into his key specials on counter or if the opponent crouches, which is pretty much a big deal here. Next we have his 5H, or as I like to call it, the Big Bad Fansky. This is Anji bring both his fans down with excessive force. The move has a high hitbox and covers both sides of Anji, so can act as an anti-air mix-up tool. It's also a great combo linker, and on counter hit will stun the opponent for some heavier combos, or if it was an anti-air counter, bounce the opponent for the same level of hang time. Yeah, really great tool. Next we have his only other command normal, 6H. And this has Anji perform that move I've seen fan dancers do, but never learned the name of. This attack hits 3 times and can only link into a special on the last hit, or if the first hit lands on a counter. The move itself is your other main pressure tool, as anything other than a picture-perfect jab will grant you a counter off the 5P, 5K, and close slash. This is because this attack acts as an orb-like hitbox, so it can kind of work as an anti-air, but its main boon is it's great at snuffing out low-profile moves like Night Raid Vortex and Stun Dipper, so will condition the opponent to block. Just don't do it raw. That start time is way too slow and you are going to pay with your life. We then have his 2H, his best combo starter in the game without meter. This simple fan strike will knock the opponent up on hit and allow for combos. And if you land this on a counter hit, it's free real estate. Its only drawback is it's super slow. However, this slowness can be used to your advantage. If they're expecting a 5H from a close slash or close far combo and you instead go for a 2H, well, there's your free counter hit. It's also your primary combo linker because that pop-up time will allow you to get most of your special attacks off. Again, really good move. Aerial wise, his jump attacks are pretty decent. Jump kick is a great to option that we all know universally gatlings into jump dust, and jump dust is an amazing to option with a Sol-esque wall bounce built in. Jump slash is no slouch either, being okay at both to and as a jumping in tool, but just like Kai, jump heavy is your main jumping tool because, well, look at it. You have a decent ranged attack with an amazing horizontal hitbox. Hell, this is also one of your main enders if you are in the air. You use this after a dash as the opponent lands on the floor, and you get an off the ground hit. Beautiful. Finally, I'm going to add his throw here as an honorable mention, as although it's universal, the hard knockdown can be extremely useful and key to some of Anji's pressure, which I'm going to dive into more detail as we go into his special attacks, starting with Shitsu. This is a projectile where Anji looked at this meme and said, can't it be both? As he creates a butterfly that when it connects with the opponent will transform into an angry bird that will count as a second hit. It's slow as hell on startup, slow as hell when in motion, and travels about 2 Potemkins short of full screen. But still, that's fine, as this isn't a zoning tool, it's a pressure tool. Remember when I said his throw was a key tool? This is why. With the right timing, the hard knockdown gives Anji enough time to get that butterfly out, meaning the opponent has to block, meaning the hawk is going to give you enough time to keep the pressure on. The same would go for his 2 dusters, that's the universal sweep, so ends in a hard knockdown, but with that you do need to work on your positioning and timing, otherwise the butterfly will miss. Now none of this pressure is guaranteed, as there is a big ass gap between the butterfly and the bird for the opponent to jab out of, and if you have dashed to the opponent too soon, they will squash out the bird. Now one of the big issues Shitsu has is that if you are in the corner, the butterfly will always miss of a throw. You land the throw, the butterfly will be off the screen before the opponent can get up. However, we do have a work around this. With a well-timed 2K, at the latest you can hit the OTG, you can pull the butterfly off and just 2p any interruption the opponent has after they block the butterfly. It's a bit tricky, but it's something that could be really useful and something you might want to try and lab out. Our next special is none other than Fujin, Anji's super Unga Bunga key move. This attack has Anji move his fan so fast it generates a shockwave, stunning the opponent, and from there you have a plethora of options tied to each attack button that you can use. Except dust, because no one really likes dust. Dust is just there. Pressing slash will grant you Nagiha, a low profile slash that sweeps the opponent off their feet. It's fast and is a true block string, with the downside of being slightly unsafe on block. Now, most people argue it's only a jab or a kick, so it's not really too punishing, but remember that reversals are a thing. Any special attack, or even worse, overdrive, that has an equal startup to Nageha's block recovery will land as a punish. Some examples of moves that can punish a well spaced out Nageha block string are Tyrant Rave, the first part of Stun Dipper, Sacred Edge, Chip's Bankai Masai, Giovanna's Ventania, and Potemkin's 5p, which you can dash Red Roman cancel into his normal Heat Knuckle string for about 121 damage, which isn't much, and most Potemkins would say, what's the point? But the point is, the Anji has just taken 121 damage from a move that most Anji players will deem as safe as sort of giving the Potemkin player a bit of a mental victory and the Anji player a bit of a mental loss. So, since we are talking about Anji, don't just throw this out willy-nilly. If the opponent is savvy to what punishes it, well, you're gonna have a bad time. This is also your main combo route when you have tension. Land Nageha, Red Roman, and it's an easy close slash into your finish. And if you land this as a counter hit, it will count as a hard knockdown, allowing you to set up your butterfly. Pressing heavy slash will grant you Rin, an overhead slap that will bounce the opponent into the air for combos with an even bigger bounce on counter, and there goes another finger. Yes, sadly, because of its combo potential, it comes with the grave misfortune of being death on block, with a long ass gap that travels you to close slash distance. So yeah, double death. However, this is where the mind games and mix-ups begin. You see, if you've conditioned your opponent to think that the next follow-up to Fujin you're going to use is Nagiha, and they duck, but it was Rin, they get bopped and you get a full combo. Then the opponent gets conditioned to think you're gonna go for Rin, and they get Nagiha'd off their feet. Now the biggest issue with this plan, if we remember, is that both of these options are punishable, and a 50-50 mix-up can only get you so far in life unless your name's Kuai Liang. And if the opponent is savvy to this and has good reactions, they can just fuzzy block the Rin the moment they see it. And yeah, you're gonna be toast. Makes you really wish for a safe option, doesn't it?
Teacher, that was very selfish of you!
So yes, by pressing punch, this will grant you Shin Ichishiki, where Anji leaps into the air and throws his fans at the opponent's feet. It's advantageous on block, making it a great pressure tool, but it's pretty slow. So slow that the opponent has enough time after Fujin connects to jump up and avoid the attack entirely. But this is where the mind games come in once again, as Nagiha can't be jumped. So we'll knock the opponent down, and if you have meter, well, it's a full combo. So now our 50-50 has become a 33.33 and then some. Now another good thing to take note of is if you use Fujin as an OTG, or off the ground, with good enough timing, you can use Ichishiki as what we call a meaty, meaning it will hit the opponent at the earliest it can after the opponent wakes up, forcing the opponent to block or eat a counter and grant you back your turn. Finally, if you press kick, you'll be granted Isokutobi, a simple leap, nothing more. It's pretty much if they are too afraid to press buttons, you can use this to get in and go for a throw, turning your 33.33 and then some to a straight 25 all round. Now where Isokutobi fully shines is with Fujin's other little trick, which is it can be charged. Yes, if you weren't already unga bunga enough, by holding heavy slash down, Anji will charge Fujin, which uses Sugetsu no Hakobi to generate more wind and blast the opponent into the air, sending them rolling near full screen. Since I used that name we all talked about at the beginning, this means that Fujin has that guard point stance, meaning if they've tried to attack you while you're doing it, you get a free combo. If they were too afraid, well, then you get your mix-ups. And if this charged Fujin actually hits, this is where Isokutobi comes in, as it's one of his best options. By using it straight after the charged Fujin hits, you can leap under the opponent and continue a combo with close slash or 5k. And this is made even easier with a counter hit. But that's not all. After a hard knockdown mid-screen, if you go for an off-the-ground Fujin and follow up with Isokutobi, this will allow Anji a close slash or 2 dust that the opponent will either have to block or use iframes to escape, making it a really strong pressure option to have. You land the throw mid-screen, go for Fujin, hop to the opponent, they will have to make that choice, block or Dragon Punch. You land a 2 dust sweep, charge Fujin, and they are in the exact same situation. Really deadly stuff. Finally we have Ku, Anji's attempt at a Dragon Punch. This has Anji gracefully leap into the air like a majestic unicorn, delivering a double slap with his fans. And it's not really a bad move despite not having full invincibility. Just like Nago, it's only the top half. But it's one of his best anti-air options because you can do so much with it. Dashing in for pressure, Roman cancels, it's chargeable with the charged version, allowing you an easier time to get that aerial attack in for more combo options. Its only real downside is the fact that it only hits airborne opponents. If that opponent's feet are planted on the floor, you will whiff and you will die. So, no wake up reversals here. But as my choice of words have said, the opponent only needs to be airborne, not jumping, so you can combo off a 2 dust. This little difference opens up a lot of windows for you and is great for retaking the corner if you have meter. Using the down dashing Red Roman after the second hit will allow you to air dash or normal dash behind the opponent and switch sides to reclaim that corner, which is really good. Trust me, having the ability to take the corner back after a jab punish is a godsend. For overdrives, we start with the Issei Ogi Sai. This has Anji charge his fans with the power of the burning sun for throwing them out like a static buzzsaw. It's stupidly unsafe on block, but deals massive damage if it lands. It's classed as a projectile, so can trade with other projectiles, but more importantly, if you're very meter endowed, you can purple Roman after this is used to either keep up the pressure on block or increase that damage on hit. Otherwise, it's just a pretty standard overdrive. Finally, we have Kachufugetsu Kai, which I believe is Japanese for No You. This counter-attack based overdrive is basically Anji's version of a Raging Demon, only without the inputs, and the fact that it's a counter-attack. So probably not a Raging Demon, but it's a big flurry of attacks that finishes with a pose and a symbol, only Anji has the moon or sun, or whatever it is. But similarly, this move also has 2 versions. Countering a physical attack will grant you the full cinematic version where you get the little moon sun symbol, while if Anji counters a projectile, he will do a 2-hit combo that deals about 33 damage less. Now once again, if you're meter endowed, you can spend your final bar of tension on a Red Roman and rack up the damage even higher on both versions, which is a lot of meter, but if they don't have all that much health left anyway, and you have the meter for it, why not do it? It's stylish as fuck. Overall, Anji embodies his balls to the wall mentality. You have to be that little bit reckless, a little bit crazy with your play, but always maintain or give off the impression that you maintain control. The guard point when used right is terrifying for the opposition because they know they are going to eat a throw or close slash if they throw out the wrong move. Fujin itself lives up to its meme's sake, and you literally unga bunga your way to victory, but he is not without his flaws. For one, he has no real reversal options outside of his overdrive. This makes getting out of wake up or Oki pressure a little bit harder, with Milia being extremely hard if you don't have tension. I may be missing something, but through testing with the AI, which reversals are almost instant, I can't find anything to save him from a beatdown when he has no meter outside of bursting. His attack speed also means he can struggle against those with equal range but faster slashes and heavies. And while being one of my favourite characters to play, hell, he's classed as my main character, he is someone who really has to work to get that win compared to other characters. So, work we do. And game plan wise is you need to be putting on that pressure and not give the opponent much of a chance to breathe. Take advantage of the throw, you can do so much with it, and that hard knockdown is going to make setups a breeze. Utilize the buttons you do have. 5 and 2p are great options when running in on a downed opponent, and if you catch a jumper you can Gatling into 6H and convert into whatever you want from there. Remember that your projectile is kinda dookie as an actual projectile, so only really use it as such if you have a good setup or if the opponent was a little slow or hesitant in their actions. But most of all, use everything and be creative. You have 3 moves that have chargeable guard points that all look the same at the start. If the opponent thinks you missed your guard point but you were using either Ku or Fujin, you could either catch them out for a counter or sail over their offense and get an in from there. And if they did catch you during the charge, well, it was a guard point, so it's your turn again. And that is the whole point to what you're doing. You are making the opponent wary of pressing buttons, so you can gain free offense when they were expecting something else. You see, deception is the key to Anji. Keep that in mind and you'll show that while they were pretty strong, you were stronger. It's that simple.
My dance is unparalleled.
Okay, that's it for today's video. Hope it helps, and if it did, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, foojin that bell thingy, and follow me on the Twitch and Twitters. Also, if you have any tips and tricks you found out yourself, or just want your favorite character to be covered in the future, let us know in the comments section below. And finally, tune in next time where patriotism is our driving force, with Potemkin. But until that day, this has been Techno Odin. Stay safe, flame skulls, and let's rock.
Know the smell of the game.